Hello, everyone. Please take your seats. We will be starting shortly. Please take your seats. The opening plenary is about to begin. Please welcome to the stage Tecumseh Caesar, a local Native American from Long Island and Queens.
Quingwalomwa, Nindashinzi, Tecumseh, Nindashi Yayi, Matinakok tribe of Siwanahaki, Wak Wampanoag Pokanoket, Wak Montaukett, Wak Blackfoot, Niwalotaminwindak Pli. So what I've said to you guys in the Munsee language or the Lenape language of this land, the land of Mannahatta, is that my name is Tecumseh Caesar. I am from the Matinakok tribe of what we call Siwanahaki, which is the island of Black Shells. It's also what we call Queens, Long Island, and Brooklyn. I'm also from the Montaukett tribe, the Wampanoag Pokanoket tribe, and the Blackfoot. So I'm gonna open up with opening prayer. I just ask from this point while we're doing the prayer, if anybody could stop, withhold from taking pictures or videotaping, and you can stand, please stand. I'm going to say the prayer in the Munsee language to honor the ancestors of this land, and then I'll translate.
And now, please welcome to the stage our president and CEO, Mario Garcia Durham.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Tecumseh. I think what he did is very, very important to start off our conference, so thank you. So, oops. wanted to make sure you're awake. I wanted to welcome you to APAP 2019, and to begin with, I would like to open with a very specially created video. So, please, video.
There's frost outside, there's a chill in the sky, special time of year.
People came from trains, planes, cars just to arrive, special time of year.
Just checked in at the Hilton Midtown Hotel, and now I'm finally home.
4 hours of sleep, no time to eat, special time of year.
Brought the wrong shoes for 60 hours on my feet, special time of year. The expo escalator keeps breaking down. Just made a call to Hilton facility. That is the power of we. 4 days we come together, making art that lasts forever, goes on and on. That is the power of we. We're just smokers and performers, resilient agents that are in our corner, helping each other be all they can be. That is the power of we.
Inspiring speakers, inspiring us to dream.
APAP conference, APAP conference. Eating that hello food from a cart outside of the street. APAP conference, APAP conference.
Photos every year from the New York cold.
That's what you get for booking in January. That is the power of we. 4 days we come together, making art that lasts forever, goes on and on. That is the power of we. Together we're always much stronger now. Power of we.
What makes us different makes us great.
We're not alone when there's togetherness. Happy APAP. 4 days we come together, making art that lasts forever, goes on and on. That is the power of we.
Nothing we can fix while we're singing a song. Chicken strolls run the booths with their lanyards on.
This is the hour of, this is the power of we. This is the power of we.
That video hit a little nerve, didn't it? So that was great, and I want to give a shout out to a former board member and great colleague, Nicole Borelli-Hearn. And that group, let's hear applause, is called the Tough Boys. They were created by Ryan Harrington, Isaac Himmelman, and Brendan Ryan. That was terrific. And boy, do we need laughter this year. Again, my name is Mario Garcia Durham, President and CEO of APAP, and I would like to personally welcome each of you to the 62nd annual gathering of the Association of Performing Arts Professionals, and welcome to those joining us online via Facebook Live. So I wish you all a very happy new year. Our 2019 conference obviously is the Power of We, celebrating the power of performing arts to bring people together and the power of our gathering as a field here at APAP NYC. So it is with great pleasure and gratitude that we welcome and thank our APAP NYC conference co-chairs to celebrate the power of we. That would be Lynn Fisher, Shanta Thake, and Beatrice Thomas, as well as Marty Wollaston, who's also a co-chair, but he could not be with us today. He's okay, but he couldn't be with us today, but he's here in spirit. He was one of our most active co-chairs. So I would like to introduce them. Please welcome our co-chairs.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome. We are Lynn Fisher. We are she, her. We are from Texas and Chicago. We represent artists. We negotiate, communicate, collaborate, navigate, advocate. We believe beyond borders. We pursue pathways. We connect and question. We care.
We are Beatrice Thomas. We are she, they. We are a queer, Black activist, drag queen, performance artist. We are connecting queer communities to opportunities on national platforms. We are a creative producer. We are a cultural equity warrior.
We are Shanta Thake. We are she, her. We are from Indiana and Brooklyn. We are living as a presenter. We are married to an agent. We are invested. We are criers. We are bending the arc of history towards justice.
We are going to be reading a poem by poet, author, and director Marcela Sanchez Mota from Mexico. We are, we walk, we laugh, we are, we live. On the asphalt we live. In the city we live. With the trees, friends. Such is life, friends, on the asphalt with the trees. Such is death. Such is mourning. Such is hunger. We suffer. We sing. We dance. Such is death. Such is emptiness. Such is the whole. Such are the masses. Such is hunger. We are here. Now I'm going to ask you to please turn to someone, preferably that you don't know, next to you or in front of you or to the side of you. Look into their eyes and repeat after me.
Wow.
Okay. We are. We walk, we laugh. We live, we dance, we sing.
We live, we dance, we sing.
We are here.
We are here.
We are one.
We are one.
Very good, very good. Good job, good job. Congratulations. Look at us. Look at we. This is us. We are mestizos. We are from here. From beyond the sea, we come. We are asphalt. We are blood. We are genitals. From beyond the sea, we come. Alienated, vaccinated, defeated, dominated, but we are here. We are the living. We are one. Now, we had a dry run. Turn to someone you don't know. Turn to someone you don't know. And repeat after me. I mean, I did not tell you to talk. We are, we walk, we laugh.
We are, we walk, we laugh.
We live, we dance, we sing.
We live, we dance, we sing.
We are here, we are one.
We are here. We are one.
All right, good job. Yes. So I have a group that can follow directions. Let's try it again.
We drink. We drink. We are here. We talk. We eat. We are a tribe. We are. We dance. We are here. We write with the footprint. Such is the trance. Such is the spell, friends. We are bodies. Such are the minds that laugh. They are. We are friends. From beyond the sea we come, friends. Okay, we're doing it one more time. Last time, everyone. Turn to somebody you don't know.
You don't know. That's
and
right.
repeat after me. We are, we walk, we laugh.
We are, we walk, we laugh.
We live, we dance, we sing.
We live, we dance, we sing.
We are here, we are one.
here.
We are here, we are one. All right, all right. Come on, APAP. Give yourselves a round of applause. Feels good to get to know people. Feels good.
In a procession,
We
come.
With
death, we come.
With the past, we come. We walk. With
With
the
the
dry
dry
land
land
friends.
friends.
With the villages friends.
With
With
our
our
people,
people,
we
we
come,
come,
we
we
dance,
dance.
we are one.
And we are two in one. And we are so many in one.
We're not gonna. It's you. It's you. It's actually you. Like, thank you for applauding yourselves. So rude. Giving and receiving welcome was a big part of this year's conference committee dialogues. Like, you didn't know it could get that deep and long on giving and receiving welcome, but in this industry, yes, it can. It is important for us to remember that the biggest gift of this community is the magic that every one of us in this room brings to the arts and culture field. It is truly the power of we that we create, right? We all fall victim at times to getting caught up in our own solo hustles. I see you. Who are you? Right? You're so busy, too busy, can't look. No, it's okay. Let's just remember that relationships are the foundation of this field, right? And this industry. It's real. It's us. So we wanted to start this conference by reminding you that you are not alone in this hustle. We invite you to look into the people's eyes throughout this conference time. I see you. Throughout this conference time, and stay looking until you see their humanity. None of this. None of that, right? Let's be together here. I want y'all to smile as an opener and as a closer. And I want to see high fives. This is my dream. I want to see high fives being delivered liberally. Look at the elbow. There you go. In fact, I want everyone to think of a new way to give welcome.
And we
welcome
welcome
Krista Bradley.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn, Beatrice, Shanta, and Marty in spirit. Good evening and welcome, dear friends, colleagues, and collaborators in the room, and those online on Facebook Live. And thank you to Tecumseh Caesar, the Tough Boys, and Mario. This opening session is an especially meaningful and inspiring way to launch our time together and to introduce our 62nd annual APAP conference that will have all of the opportunities for discovery, learning, sharing that we expect from the APAP gathering. But this year, we offer some updates that we hope will highlight and supercharge the power of we in this room. We are again making this year's plenary sessions accessible over the internet on Facebook Live, courtesy of the Culture Hub live streaming service. So please be sure to invite your friends, family, and colleagues to join online each day if they are not able to join us here in person. The co-chairs and I have worked with an amazing conference committee to bring you 5 days of broad, diverse, and inspiring speakers and discussion opportunities. This was a larger committee than we have had in the past, an intentional move to live out our values of inclusivity and to elevate the voices and experiences of the many diversities that make up the vital and varied APAP community. As you know, we are a mighty community of performing arts professionals of all stripes, representing every job in the field, every performing arts discipline, every state in the union, and about 35 different countries. We are rural, we are urban, we are suburban, we are small, we are large, and we are in between. From every kind of background, multilingual, multi-ethnic, of our strength is in the diversities we bring together. What we share is a life in the performing arts and a commitment to the value of that work. Designing a program for APAP NYC for nearly 4,000 people with all of that inspiring diversity is not an easy undertaking. And we were profoundly fortunate to be working with the thoughtful and committed colleagues you see listed on the screen. Would members of the conference committee please stand so we can recognize your fine work? Take a good look and feel free to share your feedback with any of these folks over the next 5 days. A primary goal of the conference committee is to make certain that for 5 days starting today, there are many opportunities for experiences, learning, and connections that will feed our work in direct and useful ways. In professional development and plenary sessions, in the expo hall, in the showcases, and in the hallways and bars, we hope this conference offers a rare occasion in our busy lives to appreciate the wealth of artistry and talent in our field, absorb and exchange information and ideas, and build a better understanding of forces that are shaping the world in which we live. All this to better build the world we want to live in and work in, all of course while doing bang-up business. To this end, this year's conference committee focused on particular areas that support the power of we, and timely, relevant issues that demand our attention, with results that you will see throughout the conference days. Every conference committee member joined at least one subcommittee on professional development, networking, equity, diversity, inclusion, or the first-timer experience. And all participated in planning our plenary sessions and overall conference experience. As a result of their work, this year you will see a more interactivity than in the past, more opportunities to connect with others, and more curated sessions and experiences throughout. Some of the tangible results of their work are the affinity group meetings, which we hope that many of you have joined this afternoon, with a few still to come, upcoming dine-arounds and social gatherings, which you can also sign up for, and one-on-one consultations with experts, also to sign up for online. A new Sunday morning first-time attendees check-in, so check your schedule for that. And we hope that you will take these opportunities to connect on a deeper level, to re-examine assumptions and find new ways to work together to be the most powerful we can be. We can never make this event happen every January without the year-round effort of the hard-working APAP team, APAP's extraordinary board, And at conference, almost 100 dedicated volunteers. Thank you. Please don't hesitate to introduce yourself to us. Any members of the conference committee, the APAP staff, or board members, you can recognize staff and board by their ribbons, and there's also an info desk across from the registration for any question of any sort. No question is too stupid. And again, please make time to give and receive welcome, to reach out and meet new colleagues, whether new to APAP or just new to you. Everyone is new to someone. And these 5 days can at times be overwhelming. Even for those of us who have attended for many years, please reach out to help each other feel the power of we throughout our time together. A few pointers: take time to eat, drink, water, and sleep. There are also so many hours in the day and night, but physical sustenance is necessary, and our urban kitchen aims to please. Make a daily plan, use your app or your printed program. There are over 300 exhibit booths, 1,000 plus showcases, and close to 80 professional development sessions. Enjoy the rest of the conference. And now, please welcome Mario Garcia-Durham.
Now I wanted to ask you all to please acknowledge Krista, because she is a great, great, wonderful addition to our APAP staff and family. So please, Krista. She's really great. And thank you to the co-chairs for that thoughtful opening. The co-chairs this year, as you can tell, dove in, meeting after meeting after meeting, and I think you'll see the results here at the conference. So at this time, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. What I'll do is read the names and ask you to hold your applause, and at the end I'll ask you to do that. But acknowledging sponsors, as you all know, is very, very important, as well as funders. So I would like to thank our funders in the foundation world: the American Express Foundation, the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation, the Doris Duke Foundation for Islamic Arts, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, the Wallace Foundation, and we also received generous support from the National Endowment for the Arts. I'd like to thank our sponsors. First, our participating sponsors: All Arts, Gig Salad, International Arts Manager, the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, PMG Arts Management, and Sage Artist. Under our bronze category, we have Cami Music, KMP, Live Note, Tessitura, Vital Theater Company. And under the silver category, we have Alan Harris, the Canada Council for the Arts, Columbia Artist Management, ICM Partners, Cosson Talent, and Tenor by Night. And finally, under the gold category, we have ETIX, IMG Artist, and Opus 3 Artists. So you're all in the business and you understand how important sponsors are. Can we please give it up for our sponsors and foundations? Thank you. And there's more opportunities for those that haven't sponsored, so please let us know. Also at this time, it's always a special moment to welcome all of those who are brand new to APAP. I went to the new colleagues orientation, it was packed. So we look forward to all of you that have joined us and hope you stay with us. So all first-timers that are here, would you please stand and be acknowledged? Thank you. So as many of you know, we launched our new Fellows program in 2016. It's an APAP program that focuses on young, established leaders and facilitates important field inquiries and further development of their careers. I'm very proud of this program. It's also been very, very successful. And I want to give a special thanks to the American Express Foundation for helping fund this project, and to the University of Southern California and former APAP board chair, Mr. Ken Foster, who is our key partner. And also I'd like to acknowledge Scott Stoner. Scott, are you in the room here? There's Scott, who helped co-create this program. So thank you both. It's a wonderful program. Thank you. Now, we're in our fourth cohort of Leadership Fellows, and tomorrow our third cohort has created the plenary session. So it should be very interesting and very non-traditional, so I hope you can join us for that. So throughout our time during these next 5 days, you will hear a lot of speaking by very wise and gifted people from across the field. We are so fortunate as an organization to have a vast and influential platform for these voices and for your voice. While we are great talkers, we also need to be good listeners. These are very engaging times, as you know. To paraphrase our colleague Bamuthi, also known as Mark Bamuthi Joseph. Yes, shout out for him, Mark. This is a time of push-pull. Well, I don't know about you, but when he said that the other day, it really resonated with me. I feel like every day it's push, pull, back, forward, back, forward. It's quite exhausting. And it seems every day presents a new direction, a new issue, and sometimes a new reality. So a couple of themes have come forward in our conversations again and again, and one involves change. Quite simply, some ways we might have operated in the past are no longer acceptable. The Me Too and Time's Up movement are parts of our world now. We are not going back. Thank you. But we also know that at the heart of these movements and other important movements is power. Who holds power? Who is really in charge? How can older leadership models and discriminatory dynamics change? We must also ask, how can we use the power that we have, the power of we, to add value to the world through the arts and our own best practices? In other words, I look upon our current challenges as an opportunity in leadership. Does APAP lead? Does your organization lead? Do you lead individually? I believe the answer for us is a resounding yes. We understand that many of the new ways and paths of leadership may be difficult for some, but we at APAP are committed to embrace this new world, and we intend to teach and learn together in joy. For example, you will be hearing more about our READI work, that's spelled R-E-D-I, and that's our work with race, equity, diversity, and inclusion. So in summation, the most forward-thinking changes surrounding us, to me and to all of us, are thrilling, and we intend to join with you in moving ahead. So thank you. And so now I have the great pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, Jane Chu. I had the opportunity to work with Jane when I was at the National Endowment for the Arts, and I had her as one of my panelists, I think a couple of times on my presenting panels. She stood out as a panelist, not only for her strength and diplomacy, but for her preparation and work that she poured into the role. She was truly outstanding. Prior to coming to the National Endowment for the Arts, Jane served as the president and CEO of the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts and oversaw a $413 million campaign to construct and open the Performing Arts Center in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. And for those that have not visited it, it's a gorgeous facility. Jane has a master's degree in piano pedagogy from Southern Methodist University. Additionally, she holds an MBA from Rockhurst University, a PhD in philanthropic studies from Indiana University, as well as 4 honorary doctorate degrees. It is no wonder that Jane was tapped to lead the NEA. During Jane's 4-year tenure at the National Endowment for the Arts, she traveled to all 50 states and 200 communities and made more than 400 site visits to visit visual artists, musicians, dancers, actors, writers, arts educators, and arts administrators. I know Jane personally witnessed thousands of artists and organizations, many outside of major metropolitan areas, that are doing amazing, amazing work. So a bit of trivia is that Jane, after one of her many visits to all of these locations, would use her considerable drawing and artistic skills to create beautiful and amazing detailed drawings of her venue and her host that she would send back after she visited. It just gives you a glimpse to this individual. So please welcome Jane Chu.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to join you. I'm so glad to be here. The APAP conference is a wonderful place. It was really fun attending this conference every year as a performing arts professional when I lived in Kansas City. And it was also great to come to the APAP conference when I was at the National Endowment for the Arts, because I could see that we're all in this together when it comes to creating an environment where the arts can thrive and where we can be connected to the arts each in our own ways. Because you're not just checking off the boxes to get a project completed, you are celebrating the arts and the power of what the arts can do for us, and you're creating meaning in our lives. This is the kind of mindset that's creating a culture where how you do something is just as important as what you do. It is not easy to create a culture because there's not an obvious linear process where one step automatically leads to the next step. It's a really messy process. And the process of creating a thriving culture never stops. It's not like being in a clinical laboratory where everybody everywhere can replicate every step exactly alike in order to create a culture. But that is why I'm so excited to be here today, to celebrate with you what you have already within you as a leader. You as performing arts leaders are creating a culture where people can celebrate the arts and where people feel like they can belong, each in our own ways. And that is connecting the community together. This is a great time to feel so good about the power that you have as a leader when it comes to creating a culture that honors our different perspectives and connects us together at the same time. So I hope that as you go through this wonderful conference, talking with others and reflecting on your own experiences, that by the time you return home, you're going to remember that your creative power as a leader is already within you, how you lead your own life, and how you lead and work with others as a performing arts professional, how you lead within the arts, how you lead as outside of the arts realm. So during my time at the National Endowment for the Arts, when we were able to visit all 50 states, we talked with artists and arts leaders, city leaders, businesses. We talked with many of you. We held focus groups and town hall meetings with the general public across the nation. And if you had to boil down to the essence of what we learned, we experienced three main insights. The first insight is that the arts are thriving across the nation. It's not just the arts on the East and West Coast. There are wonderful arts on the East and West Coast, but there are also wonderful arts projects happening everywhere across the nation. And so those comments that we sometimes hear about how the arts are tanking and decreasing, we experienced the opposite. But they're not all happening in the same ways. And people used to define the arts in only one way. And so now that old definition is expanding, and we want to make sure that our definition keeps up with this expansion. The second insight is that people want to feel like they belong. And the emphasis here is on the word feel. So they're looking for meaning, and they want something to touch their hearts. And the quickest avenue to feeling like they belong has been through their own identities. They want to have their own identities recognized. They don't want to be force-fit into having to give up one identity to have another. And then the third insight that we learned in our travels is that people yearn to be able to expand, to be inspired, to imagine what their lives can be. They don't want to be stuck. They want to solve old problems in new ways, and the arts are leading the way to give people the creative outlet to have this expansion. So why is this happening? Across the nation, people in the arts now have a greater variety of working opportunities than in earlier generations, and some of this is tied to the presence of the internet, which has highly influenced the ways in which many artists work. And so now, possibly more than ever before, the arts are being recognized for the beauty that they bring to our lives and an important contribution to helping a workplace be more creative. In addition to the wonderful traditional jobs that artists have held over the decades, now we're also seeing that employers in non-arts organizations are also looking for those in the arts who can help them solve those old and tired problems in new ways. And communities are looking for arts programs that can draw together like a giant magnet that vitality and that spirit that brings people together and also sparks economic rejuvenation as well. And there are folk and traditional artists who create for the cultural and spiritual life of their communities. In the past, we saw more of a division between artists who created within their sector, but now we're seeing a blurred line. Musicians and visual artists, dancers, spoken word artists, writers, they're working in hybrid ways, and they're mixing up artistic formats and working outside of those old silos. They're becoming proficient in multiple disciplines at the same time. The same musician can now toggle between performing on a stage and working with, say, a painter on a museum exhibition. And there are artists from all disciplines who are inspired to work on social issues or in folk and traditional arts for the cultural heritage of a community. And so across the nation, growing numbers of artists are working as artists in non-arts areas, science labs, tech companies, senior citizens, centers, businesses, hospitals, mayor's offices. Why is this giant mashup happening? Because other sectors recognize that in order to advance knowledge that can improve our world and our understanding of the world, it is creativity that pushes us to search for new solutions, just as it pushes us here to be able to express ourselves through the arts. Now, creativity, innovation, and the mindset of the entrepreneur are increasingly valued as essential skills to have in the workplace, and you live within the essence of what people want in this nation. And then in addition to the presence of the internet, the demographics of the United States have evolved. I've been looking at the demographic studies by William Fry at the Brookings Institution, and 7 or 8 years ago, in 2011, for the first time in the history of the United States, there were more non-Caucasian babies born than Caucasian, and the demographic projections show that soon after the year 2040, the United States will not have a collective group of people labeled as minorities. And so with an increase in racial and ethnic diversity, there also comes an increase in the variety of cultural perspectives, and the arts are an outstanding way to honor the diverse perspectives and help people feel like they belong. So today, we are seeing a reevaluation of how the arts connect to individuals and in communities. And in addition to focusing on developing and booking the very best arts performances and exhibitions that you can find, there's also an emphasis in building arts participation with the general public. And this is why you are right on time. The arts are about something much deeper because they incorporate meaning into our lives. So we used to look for the types of leaders who were experts in one specific subject, and they knew one subject very well. There's nothing wrong with being a master of a specific subject. But today we need leaders who can sort through and bring together these disparate pieces, and your skills, your wisdom, your judicious thinking, and your creativity have helped you to hone your own leadership abilities, express yourselves, and connect with others in ways which give you a far wider range of options that others do not have. You already know how to stand in the middle of many different conditions and make the most quality decisions as a leader because you have such an in-depth understanding of the different styles and characteristics that are present in the arts. You don't perform Mozart the same way you perform Debussy, and you don't approach a coworker who learns best through facts and linear analysis the same way you approach another coworker who is focused upon whether a situation feels good. You already have more skills in your tool belt than most people to decide the best approach to take when working with others instead of forcing everybody to be exactly alike. Most people know the difference between loud and quiet, but you know the difference between sort of loud and sort of quiet. Your ability to understand those nuances lets you listen intently to others, and your ability to convey information to others at the right tempo, at the right pace, can distinguish your leadership from leaders who just dump information on others in a manner that actually builds extra emotional roadblocks that restrict people from receiving the information. So this ability to understand styles and nuances differentiates really good leaders from those leaders who pay no attention to those whom they are leading. Really great leadership is highly dependent upon being able to bring people together. So when do you give a group of people free rein to express themselves in a manner that's different from you? And when do you rein in everyone in the group at the same time so that together you can all accomplish a single objective? Jazz musicians ask themselves those same questions whenever they perform. So they look for those times when a single musician might take a riff on her own, and other times when all of the performers need to come back together for the sake of the composition. Really effective leaders know when to step forward, and also they know when to hold themselves back so that others can lead. And here's the key: no one single approach is right all of the time. There is no single arts program or art form that everybody universally likes. That's what's so great about the arts. There's something for everyone. The arts give us an opportunity to honor different styles, different approaches, different perspectives. I experienced this myself as a child because my parents were born in the beautiful country of China, and I was born in Oklahoma, and I grew up in Arkansas. So I straddled living in two cultures at the same time, balancing those nuances that make people feel like they belong or feel like an outsider. So for example, I did not grow up with American colloquialisms, not in my family. So if I would come home from school and talk about a school project being easy, I might say, piece of cake. My mother would say, what does a piece of cake have to do with a school project being easy? Or maybe it was time for me to go to bed and I'd say, I'm going to hit the sack. What does hitting a sack have to do with sleeping? So conversely, if I went to a restaurant with my friends and I ordered hot water to drink and everybody else would be aghast, and I still do this, but everybody else would be aghast if I was not drinking ice water. And so although I constantly felt as if I had a foot in each of my cultures, it was the arts that gave me a world that was fully my own, and those piano lessons that I was taking as an 8-year-old opened the door to music, and along with my drawing lessons as I was growing up, it expanded my ability to express more fully the concepts and the thoughts that transcended my lesser skilled linear use of everyday words and everyday conversations, because I had another vocabulary set that incorporated my heart. My own experience in the arts has helped me to be very comfortable with embracing multiple perspectives at the same time. So I did not have to choose whether I was going to be Chinese or Arkansan. I did not have to give up one perspective at the expense of the other perspective, because my world did not shrink to one perspective versus the other. Instead, my ice water, hot water, piece of cake, sack hitting, wonton mashed potatoes world expansibilities, the nuances and the styles when others just don't get it. And when problems arise, and they do, and others are stuck and they don't know what to do next because it's never been done before, you in the arts can lead us right out of the problem and move us in a direction that is authentic and inspires us to create a world in which we want to live. So when others try to manipulate a situation or restrict resources or perceive that if someone over here has the resources, that must mean somebody over there does not have the resources, the arts say we are not permanently restricted in a way that keeps us stuck, fearful, or territorial. We can create. The world of creativity does not have to shrink to what others may see as the only resources available. The world of creativity expands to find fresh new ways to acquire meaning and value, to build something out of nothing, to be comfortable enough in ambiguous situations without shrinking back, to transcend situations which may only appear to have one solution or possibly none, because you have the ability to figure it out. And that's what creating an environment is all about. So thank you for your leadership, and may all you do in the future bring meaning to your lives and the lives of others in a creative way. So go get 'em. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jane. We may take a couple of questions from the audience. We have some time. But I know one question I wanted to ask you, Jane, having worked with you, it's often our jobs can be very difficult and very, very challenging and demoralizing. And you are one of the most upbeat, we're going to achieve this goal, professionals that I've ever worked with. And I wanted to ask you, how do you approach those seemingly insurmountable problems that you encounter in your goals?
Well, I think I come from a family who taught me that you make your life wherever you are. So my mom and dad, as I mentioned before, came from China, and they came during the 1949 era when the government was changing to communism, and there was a lot of unrest, especially at that time, a lot of violence. My parents met in America, but my mom in particular was a teenager, and her parents snuck her out by herself, and she got on a train and escaped about 141 interrogations, and she didn't carry any luggage or suitcases because she didn't want to look conspicuous, so she put, it was going to take 8 days out to get from her hometown to Hong Kong, and she put on 8 pair of underwear, one over the other, and put her money in her underwear. And she got out and then ultimately came to the United States to go to college. So all of that story is to say, she has taught me that you make your life wherever you are, that because there was so much cutoff with her family, which they chose to do because she was afraid they'd be harmed back then, that there was no communication. They had decided there would be none. So she basically intentionally walled herself into a new life by herself with no resources or anything. And when what she's taught me is that you make your life wherever you are, and I want us to choose the ability to be able to be expansive and create our lives the way we want it to be, and she's been a good role model for me.
Thank you. Another quick question that I have is, can you tell us a little bit about your new position and what that entails?
Sure. I feel like I'm on one of your grant reading panels.
It's true.
I'm now working as an arts advisor for PBS, and I love it. And PBS, I'm so pleased that they're so committed to making sure that they are across the nation and really representing across the nation. So really, similarly, because we had such a great opportunity to see what you're doing across the nation in the arts, I'm working with them to tell those stories because PBS and its wonderful member networks of affiliates across the nation, we want to show that all are represented.
Excellent. Great. Is there a question here we may have? Jane? Laura Colby.
Do you know everybody in here with us?
Yes,
Yes,
he
I do.
does. He does know everybody. Thank you so much, Jane. On behalf of everyone in the room, I'd like to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for leading us as we step into this conference and acknowledging us as leaders. I'm wondering if you have some pearls of wisdom for us in terms of taking your charge back to our peoples at home, our audiences, our families, our parents, people who we meet who have no clue what we do, and how we can speak from this position that you've given us of knowledge of what the articulateness you described, without adding to that elitist crown apparently we all have. So, right, we don't want to come off that way. I just wonder, if there's some behavioral direction language that we could use so that we could be more inviting and not be drawn up as characters of elitism.
Well, you're teaching all of us too, so some of the things that we observed when we were traveling, there actually is one thing that I saw that I don't think is going to work, and that doesn't work anymore, and that is this mindset that if you build it, they will come. So I actually didn't run into, and still don't run into, too many people who have that mindset anymore, but there are a few. And I think that contributes to being walled off, and I don't think it's going to last long. I think they're going to have the most trouble because they when that type of mindset of if you build it, they will come, that tends to isolate. And in the future, there will be fewer people who will want to come because they won't feel like they belong. So that's one thing. And the other thing I learned actually was as simple as there are many of you who are members of groups in the community. It might be a Rotary or a Chamber of Commerce. I'm sort of making this up. But people are just starting to see you in the community in so many different roles. And that also builds the fabric of the community.
I was wondering if there are any individuals in the audience who are starting their careers and might have a question regarding leadership to Jane. Is there anyone from ELI or the Leadership Fellows Program that might have a question? There's a question right
there. Sorry, is it from an artist perspective okay?
Yes.
As an emerging artist? I just would love to hear from Ms. Chu what advice you would give to both artists and presenters and agents to, I guess from the artist point of view, how to kind of rise above constantly being seen as your ethnicity, despite even if you do work that goes way beyond, but kind of what advice you would bring as you are trying to book your own show, or to, when you get confused for another Asian artist, or get pigeonholed just because you're not being seen. And the same for agents, how to expand your view also toward that artist, and as well presenters. So if you have any wisdom for all of those layers.
I'm sure there's really great advice, and the things that come to my mind first are to decide within yourself how you are going to be seen, and if you encounter the other ways that you don't want to be seen that way, then just don't go there. I don't necessarily mean don't have a conversation. I just mean don't take the bait, and go back to believing within yourself what you know you can do. And it's like you know that saying that's don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. Well, it's kind of like just be who you really want to be, regardless of all these other comments that are coming your way that you may or may not want, and keep moving toward what you want to do, because eventually the right people will come to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For our final question, I'm going to put a dear friend and colleague on the spot. I'm very happy to introduce Bob Lynch, head of Americans for the Arts, to ask the final question. We have you. Bob, would you mind doing us the honors of a final question for Jay?
Hey, Bob. Does he want it?
I was just relaxing here. I left Washington, D.C. I would just say it's an honor to have worked with Jane. And I've had an opportunity to work with every one of the chairs of the National Endowment for the Arts since the beginning. But Jane brought a kind of a bipartisan approach that won over people on every side of the aisle. And it's kind of like the we that we're talking about here. And it allowed us to be positioned to do as well as we're doing right now in really, really hard times. So I'd love to know if you have any perspective on that, the political side, not only nationally, but at the state levels and local levels, of what we can do to reach out more broadly.
Oh, it's probably similar to what we've been talking about, which is we have an opportunity to not isolate ourselves, but figure out the new paradigm of how we can be together, and how instead of either or, it can be both and. So with that guiding principle, you'll find yourself in situations where you may be tempted to do either or because somebody else is, or you have an opportunity to stop yourself in the middle of that moment and say, we're going to do a both and, but what does that look like? Well, I don't know. It almost looks like something different in every moment, but the more we practice that both and mindset in different situations, the more we learn how to be. So back to that's how we do something is just as important as what we do. If we can practice those exercises of both and instead of either or, I think we're going to move in the right direction. And that's why the arts are so important. That's why I think it's one of the best ways, because when you're creating, you have to suspend judgment, at least for a moment, to create that moment. And so then you get to move to the next moment and create that moment. So the arts are a natural fit for being able to bring people together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jane. So this concludes our opening plenary. There, I'm given a note here, pardon me. I'm sure you didn't notice that. Thank you, Craig. Yes. So our co-chairs, in closing, our co-chairs have asked me to ask you to turn to the person next to you and give them a high five. And you guys are great. And they recommend a minimum of 5 high fives a day throughout the conference. So it's great. So our reception starts in about 10 minutes, and so please enjoy. Thank you all.